Hi everybody, it's Tatiana again, and today I'm going to do two quick reviews from the books that I read for the Bout Books Readathon, and I am going to be reviewing Origin by Jessica Corey and The Preacher's Son by Carl Weber. I will start with Origin since I read that first. I only had like 2/3 of this left by the time the readathon came along. So I finished this up. And this is a story about Pia, who is basically a genetic experiment in immortality for the human race. And she lives in this very sheltered world that they have created for her, that basically is just herself and the scientists who work in her community. And she comes into contact with someone from the outside, and as a result of that contact from the outside, she learns that the world is much bigger than she thinks it is, and the things that she's never questioned before, she starts to question now. I enjoyed the story. It's not that it's a different kind of YA novel. It's got some of the same kind of YA elements that you see throughout. It's the discovery of something new, the love aspect, and the dissolution of things as you thought that they were, and finding out what the real deal really is. It's not that it was a story that was necessarily new, but the way it's told and the characters that are brought to life in the story to carry the story made the difference. The way that she learns how, and I want to say this without spoiling anything, the way that she learns how to be who she is in relationship with these people who are not who she thought they were. It's very interesting, and just the turn of events, and there's like a legend that goes behind it, and things that are very interesting, and some points of it or some parts of it are really like, okay, that was a little anticlimactic, but I did enjoy the story. I think I gave it 3 stars out of 5 on Goodreads, I think. So yeah, and this is a debut novel. That's part of the reason what led me to pick it up when I saw it at Ollie's, aside from the fact that it was a hardcover book with a pretty cover that was $1.99. It's also a debut novel. And this was an insert in the book that I didn't even know I had until I dropped the book one day. There are 5 books in this series, and they call them Breathless Reads. And the 5 books are, I don't know if you can see this because of the light, but Origin, The Innocents, Venom, Black City, and Fallen Kingdoms. I wouldn't necessarily, for me, call them breathless, but the Origin was good. So I might check out the other books in the series or in this compilation. That's what I'm looking for. In this compilation as well. Next, I read The Preacher's Son by Carl Weber, and I have not read a Carl Weber book in years. And it's one of those things where you just have gotten out of reading an author and you don't really remember why. And after reading the book, I really don't remember why I just stopped reading him. Maybe it was just oversaturation, where I was reading like a lot of his books back to back to back, and I just needed a break, and the break has lasted probably a good 10 years. When did I get this? Yeah, this edition is copywritten 2005, and I think I purchased this in 2006 or 7, and I just never read it. And I said I wasn't going to buy any more Carl Weber books, probably because I needed something different to read, and I got caught up all in the different and forgot about Mr. Weber. This book I really enjoyed. It's about a family. The story centers around Dante, who is the son of the preacher and his wife, and their daughter Donna. And then of course they have friends who also have a voice in the story, boyfriend, girlfriends, and the parents end up having a voice in the story as well. And it's all about basically what is acceptable and isn't acceptable, and who makes the determination, and who makes the determination of who is acceptable, who isn't acceptable, what makes a person unacceptable, what makes one person more acceptable than another person, and how the view of what is acceptable is skewed. I really enjoyed this book. There are a lot of personalities in the book, and they all come together so well. I had to get used to getting back into the writing style, because one of the things that I've always liked about Carl Weber is that he writes how people speak, and oftentimes people don't speak in ways that are grammatically correct, and so it kind of threw me for a little bit, because anytime, even when I'm listening to people speak, if something is said that's grammatically incorrect, or even when I'm speaking, my mind immediately corrects it. Hence a lot of the chops and breaks that are in some of my videos, because I'm correcting myself and editing out the grammatic errors that I make as I speak. But I had to get beyond that to actually get to the story, and it took me maybe 2 chapters to get beyond that. And there is a twist in this novel. By the time I got to the twist, I was completely engrossed. But boy, did that twist throw me for a loop. There are a couple of twists in this novel. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I will be getting back into reading some more Carl Weber. There are a few books that he's put out that I have missed. Apparently, he has made a transition from being just an African-American fiction author to an African-American Christian fiction author, because a few of the books that I have seen people post on a couple of the groups that I'm a member of on Facebook that are by him are all based in church, just like The Preacher's Son was. I will give you a warning. The saved folk do cuss, just like some regular saved folk do. So if that's not something that you are interested in reading, I would suggest that you might want to skip this. But if it doesn't bother you, or you're not as affected by it as some people, then by all means, I would suggest reading this. I absolutely enjoyed this book, and I'm going to get back into reading more Carl Weber, which I think I have already said. So that means I've started to ramble, and I'm going to let this go. Hope you all have a good weekend, whenever you see this video. Peace out.